Imagine being the smartest person in every room and hating it. That's Dr. Doom. Catastrophically, isolatingly smart. The kind of intelligence that turns every conversation into a disappointment and every room into a prison. He rules a nation, commands armies, bends reality, and still loses. Not to heroes, not to Reed Richards, to himself. Doom isn't flexing, he's suffocating. His greatest enemy was never Reed, the Avengers, or Fate. It's himself. You're about to see why being Dr. Doom is a tragedy disguised as dominance.
Relax, nerds. This is satire. Comic accuracy may vary.
Here's the part nobody tells you about being the smartest person in the room. It doesn't make you admired, it makes you alone. Victor Von Doom has an IQ that makes Reed Richards look like he's guessing. He sees patterns no one else can, solves problems in seconds that would take scientists years, and understands magic and technology at levels most can't comprehend. Sounds like a gift, right? It's a cage. When you're always right, everybody else becomes noise. You see their mistakes before they make them. Their questions feel stupid, their doubts insulting. So you stop explaining, then you stop listening, then you stop seeing people as people. Trusting others feel irrational. Delegation feels dangerous. Doom programs his own robots because delegating means risking incompetence. He double-checks the world's best scientists because he knows they'll mess it up. The more right Doom is, the more isolated he becomes. The more isolated, the more convinced isolation is necessary. You build walls out of certainty. You armor yourself with logic. You call it strength, but it's a cage built from your own brilliance. His mind is a fortress, and he's the only prisoner inside. Doom doesn't hate Reed Richards. He's haunted by him. They were roommates at university, both brilliant, both ambitious. Then came the accident. Doom built a machine to contact his mother's soul in hell. Reed pointed out a flaw. Doom ignored him. The machine exploded, scarred his face, got him expelled. Reed became the world's greatest hero. Doom became a supervillain with a metal mask and a grudge the size of Latveria. You'd think ruling a country would be enough, mastering sorcery and science, but no, because Reed exists and he's happy. He has a family, a team, people who trust him, and that drives Doom insane. Reed stretches. That's his power, a guy who turns into a rubber band, and he's the only one everyone respects. Meanwhile, Doom commands armies, bends time, has become God. But none of it matters because Reed beat him once in college, and Doom can't let it go. Reed fails publicly. Reed doubts himself. Reed shares credit. Doom can't do any of that. Reed doesn't need Doom's approval. That's the wound. Validation isn't optional for Doom, it's survival. So it stops being rivalry, it becomes fixation. Every victory feels hollow, every loss unbearable. Because if Reed can exist without Doom's approval, Doom's entire self-image collapses. You rule a country, he stretches. Guess who's winning? Let's talk about the time Doom won. Not a battle, everything. He became God. During Secret Wars, Doom steals the power of the Beyonders, beings beyond the multiverse itself. He becomes God Emperor Doom, ruler of Battleworld, a patchwork reality stitched from destroyed universes. He has absolute power. He controls life, death, time, reality. He's worshipped, untouchable. And he's still miserable. Because godhood doesn't fix insecurity, it amplifies it. Now Doom isn't just checking whether Reed is smarter, he's checking whether Reed would have done this better. So even as God, Doom gives Reed a perfect life, a happy family, just to prove he's merciful. But really, he's testing him, waiting for Reed to acknowledge Doom is superior. And when Reed challenges him, Doom loses. Not because Reed is stronger, but because Doom's ego creates a fatal flaw he refuses to see. When you become God and you're still thinking about your college roommate, that's not victory, that's pathetic. Doom had omnipotence, and he used it to recreate the same insecurities that ruined his mortal life. This is a cosmic treadmill. No matter how fast he goes, he stays in the same place emotionally. Every victory resets the bar. He's done this multiple times, gained cosmic power, reshaped reality, seen all timelines, and every time, his need to prove himself sabotages it. Because winning isn't enough, everyone has to know he won, and when they don't, he burns it all down and starts over. Doom doesn't need enemies, he's got a built-in self-destruct mechanism, and it's called pride. Latveria isn't Doom's kingdom, it's his coping mechanism. A small Eastern European nation he controls with absolute authority. No elections, no democracy, just Doom, his robot army, and a population that learned not to question him. Sounds like a control freak's dream? It's a nightmare dressed as a dictatorship. Doom doesn't rule because he loves his people. He rules because he cannot tolerate uncertainty. Trust requires delegation. Delegation means accepting someone might do things differently. Unpredictability is Doom's nightmare. So he micromanages everything. Trade agreements, infrastructure, diplomacy, all while fighting superheroes and plotting world domination. Doom doesn't sleep easier knowing Latveria is safe. He sleeps lighter knowing he's the only variable. His people are well cared for, low crime, decent healthcare, economic stability, not because Doom loves them, but because a well-run nation reflects well on him. But step out of line, Doom bots, public executions, freedom is not on the menu. Doom genuinely believes he's doing them a favor. Ruling with an iron fist is mercy because he knows best. The people don't get a vote because they don't need one. Doom has calculated the optimal outcome for every scenario. Ruling this way means Doom never rests. No off switch. His power isn't freedom. It's obligation disguised as dominance. He built a country where nothing goes wrong and accidentally built a life where nothing ever ends. Latveria is the largest prison Doom ever built, and he made sure he was locked inside. Here's the part Doom never accounts for. You can't optimize your way out of loneliness. Doom has no friends. Zero. Allies when convenient, enemies he respects more than partners, and lackeys who execute orders. But an actual friend, that person doesn't exist, can't exist, because Doom's ego won't allow it. Doom doesn't have relationships, he has positions. Allies are tools, enemies are problems. Love implies vulnerability. Vulnerability implies loss of control. So he chooses isolation and calls it discipline. Every relationship is transactional. He works with villains when goals align, betrays them when it benefits him. He's teamed with heroes on rare occasions, calculating how to turn it to his advantage. No one gets close, and that's exactly how Doom wants it, which is exactly why he's so broken. Then there's his mother. Cynthia Von Doom was killed by demons when Victor was a child, her soul dragged to hell. Doom has spent decades trying to rescue her, bargained with demons, challenged Mephisto, wielded godlike powers, and every time he fails. Not because he's not strong enough, but because his pride gets in the way. Because saving her wouldn't just be love, it would be proof. Proof Doom was right to never bend. Proof his methods were justified. Proof humility was for weaker men. Love filtered through ego. Grief weaponized into obsession. He refuses to ask for help. Refuses to admit he can't do it alone. So his mother stays in hell, and Doom stays guilty. You're one of the most powerful beings on the planet, and you can't save the one person you actually love. That's not a villain origin story. That's a tragedy. Doom knows he could have a different life. He's seen timelines where he's happy, where he's a hero, where he and Reed are friends. He's fully aware his obsession, his ego, his refusal to let anyone in is destroying him. But he can't stop, because stopping means admitting he was wrong. Because letting go would mean admitting power didn't fix him, and that realization would hurt more than hell ever could. So he chooses isolation, paranoia, self-sabotage, because the alternative is worse than suffering. The alternative is humility. Here's what makes Doom's story so brutal. He knows. He's not ignorant, not delusional. He's fully, painfully aware of what his ego costs him. He's not blind. He's unwilling, because knowing something intellectually is cheap. Accepting it emotionally is catastrophic. Doom has stood at the edge of redemption multiple times, been offered chances to change, to let go, to be something other than a villain defined by spite, and every single time, he chooses pride over peace. To change, Doom would have to admit his suffering isn't caused by greed or fate or injustice. He'd have to accept the pain is self-generated, that the walls weren't forced on him, that he built them brick by brick. And that realization doesn't just sting, it dismantles identity. In one timeline, he became Iron Man, a hero, respected. He had everything he claimed to want, and it wasn't enough because Tony Stark built the suit first. So Doom couldn't just be a hero. He had to be a better hero. Turned it into another competition he invented in his own head. He's seen futures where he wins, where he rules justly and earns genuine respect. And he's rejected them because they require compromise, required admitting collaboration. Not domination is what works. That's the one lesson Doom will never accept because he can't understand it, but because understanding it means his entire life, every sacrifice, every cruel decision was wrong. So he doesn't learn, he doesn't grow, he just keeps walking the same path, fully aware it leads nowhere new, insisting this time will be different, not because it makes sense, but because stopping would force him to face himself without armor. And that's the one battle Doom will never allow to begin. Here's the tragedy nobody in Doom's universe ever says out loud. Dr. Doom doesn't lose because he's outmatched. He loses because he cannot get out of his own way. Every time Doom loses, it's his own fault, not because the heroes are better, not because fate is cruel, because Doom sabotages himself at the exact moment victory is in his hands. Look at a pattern. Every defeat traces back to the same internal sabotage. He refuses help because help implies equality. He rejects alliances because alliances imply trust. He designs perfect plans that collapse the moment another human being is introduced, because humans don't behave like equations, and Doom never adjusts. He's beaten the Fantastic Four dozens of times, captured them, had them helpless, and instead of finishing it, he monologues, explains his plan. He needs them to understand how brilliant he is before he wins, and that hesitation, that desperate need for validation, gives them just enough time to escape every single time. When he gains cosmic power, he doesn't use it to secure his position. He uses it to humiliate Reed, to prove a point no one but Doom cares about. He'll reshape reality just to make sure everyone knows he was the one who did it. And when that backfires, when his obsession creates the opening his enemies need, he loses everything. Again. It's not bad luck. It's not poor planning. Doom is one of the greatest strategic minds in existence. He's outwitted gods, demons, cosmic entities, but he can't outwit his own ego. He refuses to share power, refuses to trust allies, refuses to accept that sometimes winning means letting someone else take credit, and that refusal costs him everything. Look at God Emperor Doom again. He had won completely. He reshaped the multiverse in his image, commanded absolute loyalty, held power that made him functionally unstoppable, and he still lost because he couldn't let Reed Richards go. He kept Reed alive just to prove he was better, gave him a comfortable life just to show how merciful and superior he was. And Reed, being Reed, found the one flaw in Doom's perfect world. Not a tactical error, an emotional one. Doom needs to be acknowledged. And Doom understands this. That's the cruelest part. He recognizes a pattern mid-failure. He sees the moment where a single concession would save him. He feels the fork in the road, and every time, without fail, he chooses the path that preserves his identity, even if it guarantees defeat. Because losing a battle is tolerable. Losing who he thinks he is not. So, Doom keeps repeating the cycle: rise, conquer, overreach, collapse. Each iteration sharper, more calculated, more tragic. He doesn't rage at the end. He doesn't scream injustice. He resets, rebuilds, returns smarter than before, but never wiser. That's the real punishment, to be brilliant enough to see your flaw, to be self-aware enough to name it, and still be incapable of changing it. Doom isn't trapped by fate. He's trapped by identity, by the version of himself he refuses to let die. Every loss is self-inflicted, every failure is rehearsed, every downfall was avoidable. The heroes don't beat Doctor Doom, they just wait for him to beat himself. And he always does, because Victor Von Doom would rather lose on his terms than win on anyone else's. That's not strength, that's not genius, that's tragedy wearing a metal mask, sitting on a throne, ruling over nothing that actually matters. So there he sits, Victor Von Doom, ruler of Latveria, master of science and sorcery, the man who's been God and still came back empty-handed. He knows it, he sees it coming every time, but admitting that means admitting Reed was right, and Doom would rather lose forever than do that. He's just serving a life sentence in a castle he built, wearing a mask he can't take off, trapped inside the one prison he'll never escape. And Doctor Doom will rise again, smarter, stronger, with one more layer of certainty welded around his heart. And when it still isn't enough, when the silence creeps back in, he won't look inward, he'll look for another enemy.